Hello, welcome. In response to many requests in the previous videos, today we're doing a complete guide on how to play Super Mario Galaxy using a motion control-enabled gamepad. In this guide, you'll learn which version offers the best visual quality, see a comparison between the available versions, and I'll also provide a preset for motion controls, with the correct button configuration for generic controllers on both Windows and Android. But first, a word from our sponsors. If you want to buy original games while saving a lot, check out Instant Gaming, the digital store that sells games for various platforms, such as PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Get games of all genres with discounts of up to 95%. You'll also find a variety of gift cards and credits for other services. You can pay for your order through your credit card on a website with a 4.7 rating on Trustpilot. You're buying games directly from Instant Gaming, not from other retailers. If you encounter any issues, Instant Gaming offers 24/7 support. First of all, if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to leave a like. This video took a lot of work to make, especially the part about Android, where configuring motion controls was quite a challenge. Let's start by discussing which is the best version to play Super Mario Galaxy. We have the original Wii version, which can be emulated on Dolphin, and the Switch version, available in the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection. However, this collection doesn't bring any significant improvements, no enhanced textures or graphical optimizations, it's just a copy of the original game. The Switch version can be played through emulators like Citron, Sudachi, and Ryujinx, but it may have some issues. For example, in the Yuzu forks, the game might freeze when pressing the menu button, lock up during cutscenes if the FPS is unlocked, or even fail to start if an update is installed. Comparing the graphics, when we run Super Mario Galaxy on Dolphin with a texture pack for 1080p textures, which I'll be providing in the description, and on Citron with default settings, we see that Dolphin has a considerable advantage. Analyzing performance and hardware requirements, Dolphin proves to be the best choice for playing the Wii version, as the Switch emulators still have bugs and performance issues, especially Ryujinx. The only current advantage of Switch emulators over Dolphin is the ease of motion control configuration. In Switch emulators, you just need to enable the motion control option for the motion sensors to work automatically. However, to make the configuration easier in Dolphin, I'm providing a file that can be added to the emulator's preset. This will allow all motion controls to be set up automatically. So, choose a Switch emulator only if you want to avoid manual setups, as besides the performance issues and bugs, there are no texture packs available for this version. In Dolphin, despite the time required to configure the controls, you'll have a better visual experience and more stable performance. Speaking of Dolphin, I recently finished Super Mario Galaxy on it, though without all the stars, and I didn't encounter any performance issues. The texture pack really improves the game's visuals, but configuring the controls can take some time. Now, let's talk about the control configuration. But before we dive into it, if you're interested in the texture pack and other files used in this guide, they will all be available at the link on Patreon. Don't worry, access will be free, and no account or subscription is required. Control configuration. Download the smg.ini file, available in the link, and save it as shown in the video image. Restart Dolphin to ensure the file loads correctly. Go to the Controllers tab and enable the background input option. Check if your controller is being recognized. In my case, the DualShock 4 already appears in the list. If your controller isn't detected, click on Add. Configure the Wiimote. Go to Configure Wiimote and click Refresh if your controller doesn't show up at the top. Choose the SDL API, recommended. Select port 0, if it's the only controller connected. Dolphin will automatically recognize the DualShock 4 as a PS4 controller. In the top right corner, load the profile called SMG that I'm providing. If you're using a generic or different model controller, configure the buttons manually. We a button X button, PlayStation, or a button Xbox. Button 2. R2 or RB. Minus button share, back, or select. Plus button options or start. D-pad right analog stick, needed to move the camera in some moments. In the Extension tab, select Nunchuck and enable Motion Plus. In the Motion Simulator tab, Shake function used to spin with the star. Configure it to triangle or Y on the X, Y, and Z axis. If you prefer, you can use square or X. Motion input. Enable point, already activated in my preset. Recenter key, to center the cursor, R1 or RB. Here, you should check if the accelerometer and gyroscope are working properly as you move the controller. Unfortunately, I don't know how to configure this manually for all models, so if your controller is different, you may need to adjust it yourself. Finally, in the Extension tab, Set the directional buttons to the left analog stick. Z button L2 or LT, needed for Mario to crouch. With everything properly configured, the game will be ready to play with full motion control support. It might seem like a lot, but if you successfully imported my preset, most of the work is already done. Now, leaving the controls topic aside, let's say you decided to skip all this and want to play Super Mario Galaxy on a Nintendo Switch emulator. The choice is yours, but I'll show you which one offers the best performance. First of all, don't compare the colors of the images shown, because I captured them on Ryujinx with HDR enabled, which can result in different colors than expected. Specifically speaking about performance, Citron offers very good stability, maintaining 60 FPS most of the time. Ryujinx, on the other hand, struggles to even maintain 30 FPS, with constant performance drops, even in smaller areas. For this reason, when looking purely at performance, Citron is the best option. However, as I mentioned earlier, it's still not possible to use the updated version of the game in Citron, only in Ryujinx. I've reported this issue to the developers, and I hope it gets fixed soon. Also, although I haven't played through Super Mario Galaxy completely on the Switch, it's clear that the Yuzu forks offer much better performance compared to other emulators. I'm running both Dolphin and Citron at 1080p. In Citron, I'm using MSA, while in Dolphin, I'm using FXA. I made this configuration so both would run as similarly as possible, and to my surprise, Citron demands a higher GPU clock, but its overall GPU usage is still lower than Dolphin's. As for the CPU, Citron demands a bit more, which was expected since we're running Super Mario Galaxy through 2 layers of emulation, first from the Switch and then from the Wii. Dolphin continues to be the most stable and visually superior way to play Super Mario Galaxy, but configuring the controls manually can take time. Among Switch emulators, Citron is the best choice for performance, but you need to keep the game at version 1, since updates still don't work properly. Now, the golden rule for playing on PC: don't choose a method or emulator just because I said it's better. I'm simply presenting the facts and the results of my tests. If you still prefer to play on CU because you find it easier, go ahead. The important thing is to enjoy the game the way that works best for you. If you want to use save states every 30 seconds, use Dolphin, no one will judge you. The most important thing is to fully enjoy the experience, because regardless of the method you choose, Super Mario Galaxy is still an amazing game. But hold on, the video isn't over yet. Now let's talk about the experience on Android. The gameplay you're seeing in the background was recorded at 1080p, using the same texture pack as on Windows and almost all the same resources, except for anti-aliasing. On Android, unlike Windows, I didn't test the Switch emulators, and the reason is simple: excessive battery and resource consumption. So, I focus solely on Dolphin, testing 2 versions. Dolphin MMJR. Official Dolphin, Play Store or APK from the official website. The recommendation is to use the official Dolphin, as updates come out faster, and it makes motion control configuration easier. If you're wondering whether you can use Dolphin MMJR, the answer is yes, but I don't recommend it for this game. This is because all motion control setup in MMJR has to be done manually, which can take a lot of time. The control configuration on Android follows the same logic as Dolphin for PC. Access the settings for Wii Remote 1 and click on the gear next to the device option. Choose your controller. In my case, it shows up as Xbox 360 controller because I'm using the EasySMX M15, a great cost-effective controller I highly recommend. Click on Buttons and Configure. Wii A button X or A, Wii B button R2 or RT, Wii minus button Share, Back or Select, Wii plus button Options or Start. D-pad configure as right analog stick, necessary to move the camera in some parts of the game. In the motion simulator, no changes are needed. In motion input, enable pointer and configure the recenter button to R1 or RB. For the accelerometer/gyroscope section, no modifications are needed since it's already set up by default. Go to the Extension tab and select Nunchuck. Enable the attached Motion Plus option. Click on the gear for Motion Plus and configure. Z button L2 or LT. Character movement configure the left analog stick. Shake function configure all 3 axes to triangle, or Y. And that's it! Your controller will be correctly set up to play Super Mario Galaxy on Android. Unlike Citron, Dolphin for Android has many options, and enabling some of them may cause problems or slowdowns. So, if you're configuring the emulator for the first time, I recommend making only the essential changes. First, change the video API to Vulkan for performance gains and better shader compilation. Also, don't forget to adjust the internal resolution, which can be scaled according to your device's power. If you're using a Snapdragon GPU, you can install a custom driver to get even more performance. The most recommended one currently is the latest turnip driver. After these settings, everything will be ready. Moving your device will make the cursor move, but personally, I prefer to drag my finger on the touchscreen. Either way, with these configurations, you can play in whichever way feels most comfortable to you. And that's the video. Don't forget to leave a like, as making content like this takes a lot of work, especially the Android part. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.